Hey, Print Hustlers, welcome back to another episode of Printavo Print Hustlers podcast. This is going to be an awesome episode, actually. There is so much been happening. We've got Steven Farag, our co-host, and our very special guest, Yaz Marrero, actually a part of Campus Inc. as well, their creative sales director. What does a creative sales director do, Yaz?
We make stuff happen. We don't say no.
No, we say
That's a
no.
good way.
We just
Um,
we just take Steven and Adam's stupid ideas and turn them into a reality.
Yeah, like making a
what was the
pop-up
latest?
store.
Today?
We'll start with making a pop-up store in Lincoln Park in 3 days. So,
Wait. Okay. So I wanted this all to be about two things. One, hot market printing and what that is and everything about that. And two, this crazy awesome pop-up shop that you guys took advantage of. Like the moment happening and then using it to just really, drive awareness, drive sales. There's a lot of really cool stuff there. So hold on, go back though as far as the events. And because you got reached out to do some hot market printing before, Steven. I think this is where this all sort of started.
Yeah, so this all started with Illinois being awful at sports. Bruce
Mm-hmm.
went there, they weren't good. I went there, they weren't good. Yaz went there, they weren't good. Yeah, Bruce, do you even go to a basketball game?
Good question. I
Neither
would
did Yaz.
say I can't remember any.
Okay, you were too busy coding.
We were making a lot of random goofy apps, that's for
and I
sure.
was
You were selling shirts outside the stadium illegally.
Allegedly, there were shirts that were being sold that were orange in certain locations outside of certain sports teams playing games.
Gotcha. Anyways,
Those sold fast too.
okay. Yeah, I hope yeah,
Allegedly.
allegedly. That's going to come back to bite you when you run for Supreme Court justice someday. It's okay. We
Yeah.
forgive you. But anyways, Illinois stinks at sports. We print for the University of Illinois. We print on their campus. We do have a license to resell as well, meaning like we've got an Illini store. We kind of sling merch through online as a small brand. It's never really been a big thing. We actually just built the retail store in November on a hack day. We didn't really put any weight into it. I'd been approached to hot license print for the university last year when we were going to go to March Madness, and I didn't really know anything about it, and I just learned there's this whole like other world of hot market printing and how it works and what it's all about. And so yeah, we have not we've only done a little bit of it so far, and if Illinois does do well, and we will be printing a lot more, but it seems really cool up front, and then when you peel it back, it's actually really like a little scary, and
Mhm.
you have to be really really careful about it. So there's two sides to everything, and yeah, so
Stephen.
Well,
What?
how did it like? What is it, and
Yeah,
how does it work? Like, is it contracting or is it?
yeah, so you're essentially like where you have to think about when the word is hot market, like where the market is hot. There's essentially like companies that own the rights to print for different events. So in
Right.
this case, there's a couple companies out there that own the rights to print the NCAA March Madness logo. Any official tournament merchandise has that logo on it. And they've probably paid some amount of money to the NCAA or something of that matter to print. And so essentially what they're going to do is they're going to go to the cities that are doing really well. So in this case, they're in Gonzaga, they're at, Illinois, maybe, Baylor, any big teams, and they'll start to reach out to printers and say, look, if Illinois or your whatever team goes, do you want to print the official merch? And you're like, heck yeah, I do. Our team's, and you're like, yeah. And they're like, okay, if you want to print it, here are the stipulations. You're going to have to produce 10,000 within the first day. Every item's going to have to be hologrammed. You're only going to get so much per print. The shirts have to be a specific fold, and we have to run test prints before, and you have to sign basically your shop away for a week.
Wow. So, first of all, my immediate thought is like, how does it work with current customers?
You have to stop what you're doing and print.
So just working with reaching out to them and just be like, hey, we
the
We
shop
can't
is
do this for
blocked
you.
off during this time because essentially these brokers, they have purchase orders at Dick's Sporting Goods and Walmart and all these different, different stores, and you have to be ready to fulfill them because those championship shirts have to be printed right off the press, right when the game is over. You have to start printing because when the newspaper drops the next morning, your whole town needs to be blanketed in those shirts. Like, they need to be in every gas station, they need to be in every street corner, and these brokers, are basically pre-selling purchase orders, and they're basically gambling in 2 different cities or in 4 different cities at once. Right?
How does the pricing work? Is it based on like what they give you, or are you pitching back?
Everything's negotiable, right? And so, it's about a relationship most importantly, and it is under contract, and I cannot say what the price is, Bruce. I know you're
I'm gonna give you a range. No,
Nope.
I'm kidding.
Sorry. But yeah, I mean, it's contract prices, right? And so
And they supply the goods.
in some regards, they supply the goods, or they might say, "Hey, we're gonna supply the first this many, and then we need you to get some from S&S, but we need you to put a neck label and everything, or a neck tag and everything." So you're essentially a contract shop for 3 or 4 days, and there's contract shops around there that just do hot market, like that's what they do. It all just depends on the relationship, and we're in a small town, so it's a big deal for us. But in Chicago, when the Cubs won the World Series, all the big shops were printing. So
It's interesting.
Steven, what's the difference between being a contractor and being able to sell, like being a wholesaler?
Right. So we also have the related retail license because we have a university, basically bookstore store, right? And so we are able to retail, and so we've had that license forever with the University of Illinois. So we're going to be able to essentially print and sell kind of through 2 different avenues, but that helps us a ton because we can sell both online and in person, and it's not like anyone can just sell Illinois merchandise. It's through collegiate licensing and things like that, and that's where this whole kind of thing just like busted open. So I'll let Yaz, I don't know. Bruce,
Wait, hold on, Steve. I thought, because I remember a long time ago we talked about not wanting to really get into contract. Was the thought here is that you do get what Yaz you're talking about on the wholesale side too, like you can sell retail, and that was the benefit of doing the contract then?
So it's actually the opposite. So the benefit that we get as a company is actually being able to retail after we are contracted for the job. Is
Okay.
that right, Steven?
Yeah. Like, we're no different than Dick's Sporting Goods in this instant,
And
with our
most
retail
people-
brand.
And most companies or shops aren't able to retail after they have contracted the job. Usually
Right.
it's just you do the job for the company and that's it, and then they deal with the retail. We have a lucky situation where we're able to resell. So
Vertically integrated.
yeah.
How is the thoughts around staffing, or just working with the team as, let's say they win at 9 p.m. or something?
Yeah, so they have very tight terms that you have to adhere to, and they don't know what the teams are going to be, right? And so
Right.
when the Final Four breaks, you have 8 possibilities and 4 different teams playing, or when the Elite Eight is, you have 16 teams playing. So the designs can change very quickly, and you'll get a design at 9 p.m. and the first batch of 1,000 is due like the next morning. And so for us, we don't contract print. We are not a contract shop, right? But my business partner, Jed, he printed in 05, and they printed 30,000 orange shirts upstairs in our old shop. And they had to do a sew-in neck label on everything. And they did that upstairs, Bruce, where you remember that old that old
Yep.
shop. And so the
Sliding
contact,
boxes down the stairs.
yes, the contact that Jed printed with in 05 is the same contact from this year, which
Wow.
is nuts. And so just because of the relationship and because of what we do in our community, we're like, yeah, of course we're going to do this. This is our shop. But are we normally a contract shop? Absolutely not, because you have to be set up for it, right? Like high volume, high speed, big runs, and that's not who we are. That's not what we do. So the team is really excited. There's a lot of energy. From the printing side, everyone's pretty hyped up, but for me as an owner, there's a little bit of nervousness because there are going to be some long nights and some really tough days. So we're trying to like keep the adrenaline like easy going right now because we don't know what it's going to be like if we win or if we go far in the tournament. So yeah, I mean, for some shops, like, Shirt Kong had posted about it a little bit when the Chiefs went to the Super Bowl and the Chiefs lost. So you have to pack up and go home, and that's it. Literally, you can stage 10,000 shirts and you pack up and go home. There's nothing to print.
And they'll pick up everything out of there though, the shirts wise.
Yeah, and they might give you a couple $100 as like charity.
Thanks.
Right? It's a different world, and there's people out there that are set up for it. We're excited no matter what. Whatever happens. We've had a lot of fun along the way. Where we decided to really open the cap on this is the retail front, and I'll kind of let Yaz tell the story of how it all came about because it's
very curious about this.
It's funny how this all happened, and it happened so fast. Now we're here. Yaz, go for it.
Yeah, so incredibly fast. We were all in the office 2 weeks ago, not even, and Steven had been contacting. I mean, this idea was just like out of nowhere. What if we did this? And we're all just like, I don't know how we're going to get this together in the time we have. And Steven was going back and forth with Illini Athletics and the NCAA and some other like licensing so we can have like the backbone before we start making a store, right? And so we can be legally allowed to do something like this. We already had some contracts already to have our e-commerce retail store. So it was like, okay, can we sell in a brick and mortar? And he's on the phone. Or he was on the phone that day, and I remember he had sent an email, and then immediately one of the directors of Illini Athletics calls him and is like, we love the idea. There are so many Illinois alum in the city of Chicago. We love it. Run with it. Here's the terms. Here's what we have to make sure everything looks good. Let's get our PR release like ASAP. And I think that was when we were like, okay. So we had already been looking at a place down Armitage Avenue in Lincoln Park, Chicago. And Steven was like, yeah, like this is open. I talked to the broker. Like, they say it's available. And so as soon as he got that call from the director of Illini Athletics, he immediately called the realty company and was like, we want it. We're going to do it. Can we go meet you for the keys now? And that evening or the day after, we went straight over to the shop. It was dusty. It's an old bar. It was an old karaoke bar called Shoes. And it was like a little smelly and a little grimy. And we were like, okay, what are we working with? And
it was a beautiful
how'd you find the place? Just on LoopNet or?
LoopNet.
Yeah. And it's on a great street too. If you've never been down in Lincoln Park, Armitage Avenue has so many awesome little bars and shops, and so like a lot of foot traffic, and that's what we were looking for. And so it was a perfect spot. But literally the day after we got the keys, we immediately started like planning. And that was a week and a half ago.
How did that work? Like, was the landlord, you just said, hey, we wanted to rent this for 3 months, or?
It was a month we were able to get, right, Steven?
Oh, okay. So it's just, hey, they just said don't mess it up or whatever. You just have to take out what you put in.
Walls, as long as we painted them back white.
Okay.
I got the keys. I signed the lease on Tuesday. Got the keys. Went back down to Champaign because I had to load up the Jeep with stuff. Drove up on Thursday. We all met, right, Yaz?
Yep.
We met on Thursday, which was a week from today.
Yeah.
Or a week ago. A week ago today.
And this is, or we're just going to tag this at March 18th, 2021 for, people listening in the future.
Yeah, so March 18th, 2021, we get the keys. I think like we had pictures of it, so we started like on Illustrator like mapping out. And I kind of had a little bit of a vision, and when I'm in that zone, it's like we were in go time zone. Like it was crazy. We went to Home Depot. We spent way too much money.
We did well. We weren't there
like long. It was like, okay, hey, pop-up shop around March Madness. We're very Illini heavy, very close to the university. They're big on it. We're big on it. We can capture like this energy that's happening, right? Has there been thoughts of doing pop-ups before? It was just this was the good opportunity.
We did one before. We did one for Cam's.
Oh, okay. That's right. When they were closing that bar down in Champaign.
And C.O. Daniels.
Yeah, we did it in an old bar. So we only do pop-up shops in old bars.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Experienced.
There it is.
But I mean, we went to Home Depot and we literally just started buying supplies. Like we were going to the craft store. Like we're gonna need lights. Like we're gonna need paint. I was like, 4 gallons of orange paint. Like, we were just like, literally, like, everyone would just go to the aisles and like come back with stuff.
With stuff, like
Like,
so much
we're
stuff.
gonna need some hooks. Like,
Well,
ooh, look,
we
I
almost
found neon lights.
we
You
eat
know?
all of it.
And we bought a lot of like lumber. And then I think the funny part was everyone's like, Yaz, you guys didn't think we were gonna pull it off.
No way, no chance. I'm like, it's the end of Thursday, Friday, so in between that time. Saturday we weren't coming in because Steven wanted to have his own time with the store, which is understandable because Steven's Bob the Builder. And so
I just needed to get things done, actually.
Selection Sunday is when we wanted to open, so March 14th. And at noon, Steven was so adamant. We are opening on
So
Selection.
you're at Thursday. You're literally 3 days. You have Friday,
Yeah.
Saturday, and then Sunday is the opening at noon.
And
And-
like Thursday, Friday, the place is still not put together by any means. Like
I
Steven's
mean-
still putting together like the bar and the shadow boxes out of wood. I'm just like, where did this guy come from? And it didn't come together at all until the last hour to 30 minutes that Sunday morning. 100%.
And you know what? They all fought me on my ideas.
Well, they turned out great.
And I just was like, we have to paint this wall orange. And like, why? And I'm like, we have to paint this wall orange. And I think I got to a point where I said, I think I own this company. We're painting this wall orange.
And that was directly to me. So
I was like, yes, we're painting this wall orange.
I don't know why I didn't like the idea of an orange wall, but I was wrong. He was absolutely correct. The orange wall is magnificent.
If there's
So,
ever a decision to make an orange wall, make
It's
an orange
Yaz.
wall. But
Leave it up.
Yaz and Brock made a Pinterest board that had just like Virgil Abloh all over it and like Adidas and Nike. And
Nike.
the one thing they reiterated is like, it's not about selling shirts like a garage sale. It has to be an experience. Like, it has to look dope.
it needs to be
and-
inviting. People want to go inside.
People have to be like curious. It's got to be a little weird. There's got to be like some groove to it. Like, we don't have shirts on racks. We have shirts suspended by wire in shadow boxes backlit by lights. It's, you know, we put like signage on the floors. We have like a TV
Gotcha.
in there that plays a
made
VCR.
We made the eye, the block eye that you see at the O'Hare Airport when you're in the
Right.
airlines.
Right. Right.
know,
We
terminal.
wrapped the walls with oversized life-size prints of the 05 team and the 21 team. You know, we built a really quick bar that was going to be the counter.
There was
Um,
one awesome vision that we had that I was so happy, and I'm not kidding you, Bruce. This came to life 5 minutes before we opened. Nick, one of our teammates who did all the jerseys on Clubhouse side, he comes in running in from a thrift store with an old raggedy kind of like night table, a lamp, and a rug. And we had this vision. Steven brought down a really old TV from Urbana that I think Jed had in his shed. And we wanted to set up like a spot where the jersey was on top, and then there was like a little table holding this TV, kind of like a homey, cozy setup with the carpet laid out, playing old U of I basketball reels. And he's got the static on it, and it's super cool. And it's just like welcome home. You know, like when people walk in, it's like
Right.
welcome home. So
That's smart.
that was like mwah, cherry on the top. I loved that.
Yeah, I think the other cool idea that they had was when we were building it, a lot of our engagement was basically organic. We the 7 or 8 of us just started kind of like slowly hyping it on our Instagrams, like just posting about it, like people just being curious. And on the windows, we put QR codes. I think that's all we put.
Yeah.
And we just we were very underground about it, but like it's crazy like the commotion that it stirred and the way that like the team all did it. I kid you not, at 11:30 we've got people running around with their heads cut off. I think we might have recorded the video. At 11:40 we open up the POS system because we were opening at noon, and it needs a hardware upgrade or a firmware upgrade.
How long did that take?
I'll get there. At 11:50, it was like, guys, we have to be ready to open in 12 minutes, or in 10 minutes. We're still running around. Nick's on a ladder. Like, we're hanging, like, the last things. It was like HGTV, like, the last, like,
Right.
last day.
No one was speaking. No one was speaking. We were all just doing.
Everyone was like, "Bup, bup, bup, bup." And then And then sure enough, people all of a sudden, the door opens and someone like opens the door and is like, "Hi, are you open?" And I'm like, "Uh-oh." And so we like close the door and then a line starts forming. And then it's like 12:03 and I'm like, "We have to open the doors." And then Yaz decided to be the bouncer for the
Because
entire day.
COVID, we
Because
couldn't have too many people in the store. So we were like,
Oh, sure, sure, sure.
with our team, there's like maybe 8 of us. Okay,
Right,
well, five more. Like we just wanted to be safe. So I had to count
right,
the heads that came in and be like, "Thank you for waiting. Like we appreciate it." Like,
right. And
and
plus, there's definitely a vibe having a line right outside something unique.
it was
It
crazy.
definitely creates more
um
attention. Wait,
Yeah.
so three? I mean, it's really 3 days. I'm assuming a couple grand of Home Depot receipts.
yeah,
1 month lease. The universe. It sounds like pairing with them too helped on the press release to the market, like of alumni press release. I mean, you guys had a TV crew that showed up.
Bruce, you called me. You were like, "Man, you have to like get the University Alumni Association to get behind this." Like that's you called me with $1 million idea, and I'm like, "Bruce, we did that last week." No, what your point there is, without their backing, I would
Yeah,
not have done it. Like without them giving us like the blessing, and because like you need them to push it for you, right? And be the vehicle because you're
there's such a big audience
yeah.
of pairing with somebody so much bigger. Yeah.
Right. And then when it bubbled enough and we opened and like what was cool is our online store was shipping around the clock for everyone and we're still shipping. But so you could order online or you could order in person. So we had like a bigger selection online. We had limited products in person. We still had quite a few. We blew out of items like really quickly.
Hmm.
And then Monday it was like ABC, NBC, we're just getting reshares and posts and like the store's been buzzing. We've only been keeping it open for a couple hours every day and it's been buzzing every single day.
Yeah.
That's
So,
incredible. That's
yeah.
really incredible. If you could go back and try to do this again, is there any lessons learned? I mean, I guess like you guys have done it, what, 3 times or so? Like these sort of pop-up experiences.
There's
Are
always a
there,
different
because
way.
it seems like you gravitate towards it because it has to happen in the moment, which means it has to be a little bit more last minute. But
There's no
other than
point.
open the POS system a little bit earlier, like are there any other things that you feel like that you'd set it up or even like just do to improve it for the next time?
Well, we're still improving. It's hopefully going to be open until we win it all. And so the goal is that it's open probably until like April 7th or 8th. So every day we're thinking about what we can do better in the store. And so like right now we're exploring like some pickup options. If someone could order online, pick up in person, Grubhub style.
Mm-hmm.
We also are exploring like a lot of signage, like a lot of signage. We like underestimated the amount of signage we needed. And so we're just ordering tons of decals and stickers and vinyl and like things we can put everywhere. But now like what Yaz and the team are doing is like, how do we make it a fun experience? So like we got a Pop-A-Shot in there. We have a 70-inch TV that we can do like we can watch the games together.
Smart.
I don't know, Yaz, like what after weekend one, what advice would you give to someone trying to do this?
There's something about we have such a niche community and it's all people that share something in common. And something that I really enjoyed while I was working the door is being able to like talk to that next person in line and get to know their story a little bit. And that makes it such like a much more like important experience for them and for me because now I'm learning about other people's stories that, about this special time in their life, like 4 years in college, if you go to grad school, like it's awesome, And so when I'm hearing moms talk about like all of the barn dances they went to in the 80s, and I'm like, I went to a barn dance, but it was not the same as yours. And, just being able to relate with the people coming in and out of the shop, it enhances their experience. So if there's any way that we can internally, like in the store or like out of the store, when there's a line out the door, connect with these people, we should be doing it. Because then, maybe the customer service isn't the best because we're out of stock of this shirt or the POS system is acting up, but at least now we're talking like we're friends, like we've shared the same experience. There's a connection here. And like, I'm so sorry if the POS system isn't working, but like you're my buddy now because we went to camps together, like maybe different times.
Yeah, and we put Campus Inc stuff in there subtly.
Yeah.
Like in the window, it's like powered by Campus Inc, right? Or like it's got Campus Inc in the window a little bit. But what was cool is I saw alumni who graduated. They're like, "Oh, Campus Ink is doing this in Chicago," and that for me was like,
Yeah.
cool. They remember us, And so you don't know who the next we literally were inviting thousands of people to come through our doors to get an exposure of something that we set up as a custom experience. And if we can do that in 3 days, we're not so worried about your shirts. We'll be fine, right? And so it's crazy how professionally we had so many people that knew us from back in school, and it's so hard to recognize people with masks. They'd be like, "Hi, Steven." I'd be like, "Whoa," right?
Yeah.
But it really was giving us the ability to connect to so many customers.
Yeah.
Right.
And my LinkedIn has been exploding this week.
And to help drive that on the custom side potentially too, huh?
Yeah, I mean, if people just say "Oh, remember Steven, Campus Inc., Yaz, Campus Inc., Brock, Lakin, Jeff, all of them. Oh wow, the team's still together. Holy cow, they're doing this in Chicago. Remember when they, were students or whatever? That helps so much more. And I give a lot of credit to people who have done this that do it time and time again, like Max from Family Industries, right? They do this every weekend at different parts of the world, when COVID didn't exist, right? It's so hard, but that's why companies like that excel so much, because that is so much harder than printing a T-shirt.
Such a huge touch point.
Yeah.
Touch point for people who are walking by, for people who are avid customers. Interacting in person just takes things to a whole nother level.
I mean, Bruce,
True.
it's like trade shows.
Yeah.
True. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
trade
The just being able to connect, knock on
Right.
doors,
And-
shake hands, kiss babies.
Yeah, and it's you throw you don't.
Oh, well,
it's
pre-COVID
COVID.
kiss babies.
Yeah.
Eleanor
yeah.
was there. Eleanor was there with Jason.
Yeah,
Oh, Jason. Yeah.
So-
Our VP of sales.
Jason and Steve stopped by, which was
Wait,
awesome.
you didn't say how long the POS system took to update.
Ugh.
It was.
An hour and a half.
I was manually entering in credit cards on my phone.
You should have had the Square reader on your phone from trade shows.
So we were using the Shopify POS. And Jared
manage.
warned me that it was harder to use than Square, but all of our systems are running through Shopify. So
Got it.
I had the Shopify app on, but the Bluetooth was not connecting. So I was literally manually entering in credit cards furiously. And I was I probably did 50 in an hour, which is one a minute, which I thought was pretty good.
That is
But and then I was like, guys, get the POS, someone log in, what's your password? I can't authenticate. And finally we got one Bluetooth working, and it was then another one. I was like, all right, we're okay. But here's the thing. Yaz knows this. Back in our unofficial days, we were selling shirts, pre-order shirts out of bars for unofficial, and we had the same problem. We had lines. We messed up everything. It was chaos. But we were willing to take the risk because it was such a wild ride. And I think that shops that are nervous about trying this stuff, if you're not worried about it blowing up, if say this flopped, and this is something that the team and I talked about, if Illinois loses tomorrow, right, which would be Friday to the Drexel Dragons, which would be really sad,
I'm not talking about it.
Was this worth it? And the answer is yes. Yes, 100% it was worth it. Even if nothing came about it, we're obviously getting tons of content, tons of video. We're going to be able to use tons
For
of
sure.
it. Was it worth it? Because that's the whole thing with this tournament. We don't know.
What about on the e-commerce side? You guys are doing a shirt of the game, which is shirt of the month, but for each game. How's that going? How does it work?
So inspired by our shirt of the month, influencers in the space, we had a community of fans. We had a massive email list. So we figured, how do we, do something every round of the tournament? We have the license to print. So we're let's do a shirt every round of the tournament and offer a discount. So you can get a shirt from the, Big Ten Championship, first round official shirt, Sweet 16 Elite 8, Final Four National Championship game champions. It's 8 opportunities. And it's working really well. So I'll just leave it at that.
It's what, $20-$30? So every game they win, it'll just charge them, and you ship out that shirt for that game.
Yep.
Got it.
And
That's
people love
awesome.
it. It's you don't have to come back into the store to inquire. It's all right, it's gonna get shipped straight to your house.
And yeah, and we'll reveal the design every round because we're getting the designs approved in real time. So it's like they're just with us in our journey,
Yeah.
you know.
Right.
But it's also like these are collect once in a lifetime kind of like collector pieces. That's why people want them so badly. It's like, okay, when's the last time this happened?
Yeah,
So,
and I think about like the Cubs World Series, right?
yeah.
If you do merch for the Chicago Cubs, listen in because there's all these different series, right? National League Central and then whatever AL. And if you could subscribe to each round, if your team wins, you're probably like double, triple, quadrupling that opportunity because I probably was only going to buy one Cub shirt if they won the World Series or one
Sure.
NL championship shirt, right? So it's just like capitalizing on it and building a loyalty of customers. And I think that's how a brand is built. That's how Oklahoma does it. That's how Rockford Art Deli does it, right?
I think people
Um,
are like proud of us right now, though. They're proud to be an Illini. Like they want to show off that we
Sure.
made it at least this far. So like they're like, give me more. I want more. Like I want to show it off. So the subscription works
Yeah.
for that.
there's a big concept of marketing like you're the city mayor or town mayor and just like doing things like hosting events, marathons like this, right? Just like things that somebody of authority would do as driving huge awareness and hopefully making it a profitable event too. But I think this totally falls in line, especially as there's no barrier really, even if you're a small shop, to just doing something and starting small. Like you said, like I mean, I know you guys do a lot of marathons too, but that or picnics or any kind of things, cookouts. There's so many different ideas that
I
don't
mean,
have to be. Are
our
you
business,
looking for shirts?
yeah, my business partner Jed bought a marathon 10 years ago. It was a
Yeah,
race as a business because it was like if I throw the party, I will print the shirts for it.
right.
And I think that's something we used to talk a lot about, Bruce, is like you have to throw the party.
Yeah, you gotta be the host.
You have to be the
Um, Tougher question. Can you talk about how well the stores are and everything's doing sales wise?
it will hopefully be fruitful and dig us out of a slower January.
I mean, it's interesting that you say that too, because this is the alternative of the slow months as well. Like when we think about getting creative for the Jan, Feb, potentially like Christmas to holidays, is that city mayor vibe of, okay, what is something different that would be really popular during these times too?
Well, I mean,
Um,
Yaz, what saved us in December?
TMM.
Shopify.
Shopify.
Yeah.
Yeah.
what's TMM?
We call,
Total merch management. It's our abbreviation for it. But all of our Shopify stores saved us this holiday season. Yeah.
Got it.
literally saved us, like straight replacement. And I was getting a little nervous about February and March because the numbers just like weren't as like powerful. Like I just didn't see the trajectory. And so I saw the dip that we normally have. Like you can see it on your kind of data curve, Bruce. And it was like extended just a little bit. And so I was getting a little bit nervous. And Adam, I give a lot of credit to Adam because he's kind of the brain behind making it all work. And it'll be like, he'll have a couple crazy ideas and like we'll test them. We threw up the store in the middle of one game, sent it out to our entire listserv and said, let's see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
And it blew up in a night. But we did a 2-hour recording of us working and put it in stop motion. And I mean, he went from email campaigns to Klaviyo to Shopify to Facebook to this to that to mock-ups to boom, 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 boom. And he's like, all right, ready to send a prayer? Sent. And then it worked.
Monster.
I think the one shout that I'll give is to John Amato.
Which we just did. You guys can listen in to his Facebook ads expertise. Honestly, if there is a video or some sort of marketing after you tackle email marketing, which is the lowest hanging fruit, this is a great tutorial video. But yeah, he's been working with you guys, right?
Yeah, I mean, I just was like, John, you're really good at this. We have a shot. He's so good with juke mode when it comes to Klaviyo and Facebook ads. And he's just been teaching us. And we're just kind of like listening and learning. And he has a budget every day with my credit card. And so but his ROI on Facebook ads has been awesome.
Awesome.
But he's teaching us like, hey guys, this is the cost per click over here. And this is the ad that we're running here. And this ad's working really well, but let's try this out. And so I have to give him a huge shout because he's just like been super kind and helpful to us.
You're going to turn him into an agency now with people reaching out.
John Amato Agency. Yeah, it's happening.
John Amato's over at Jupe Mode. If you guys haven't chatted with him, he's very open with helping people get rolling on Facebook ads.
Yeah. So, anyways, Bruce, unfortunately, you won't be there to see it.
Yeah, I see the videos and the photos.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. We appreciate you. Your team stopped by, though.
Oh my gosh, they brought us Molly's cupcakes and
Yeah, I told Jason to bring Molly's.
Oh,
I told him to send me one too, please. But I'll have to, when I swing back by, I'll have to get my own.
Yeah.
it
So
was so sweet. They spent so much time with us too.
we'll see when this publishes because it's gonna get a little more intense as the next couple weeks progress. So maybe
Yeah, I want to do. We'll do a part 2. This has just been huge to share. I think for us as an industry to continue thinking outside the box is crucial. As anybody could buy a kit, right, and start printing, right, and so differentiating yourselves from a commodity-based industry. Also verticalizing into different spaces, whether it's stores, whether it's live printing, whether it's pop-up shops, retail. There's so many different ways to really approach it. And so for you guys to be able to tell that story, we absolutely were going to continue this on part 2 is go down the March Madness journey.
Amazing.
Cool.
Yeah. I was gonna just a quick last thing, and this doesn't have to be. You can snip this if you want to, but it was more of just like you were saying, verticalizing and like going out of the box. And then I think like the next step for us is like how to monetize this type of thing. Like if someone was to come to us and say, "Here's 20 grand, make us a pop-up shop," Steven, what would you do?
I'd ask if I was allowed to retail the shirts and make 100. No, I would do it. You just have to be careful, right? We have to be careful because this is ours. We're taking it and making it our own. But for a price, everything's for sale, right? And I think that's what we talk about monetizing our services. This is definitely a service we're doing for ourselves. It's kind of like, Bruce, you say it's like dog food, right? Like we eat what we do or whatever. I don't know what you call it. I mean, we eat
what we do. Okay.
Well, the dog food is, we use what we make.
We use what we make. We eat what we do. All right.
I mean, I guess you could eat the dog food.
We use what we make, right? So like we're building this for ourselves, for our business, and if we can do it for others and we can do it, then absolutely, right? And I think that's how a lot of people get in the industry. Yeah, you're right? And so this is going to be, there's nothing to say you couldn't do this in a school for 1 week for parents' open house.
Right.
There's no reason why you couldn't do it. There's so many different use cases. You just want to make sure your risks are covered. You want to make sure you have some money down. We are totally gambling in this instance. Yeah. But we've got to stay.
It's all good.
So.
That's awesome. Yaz and Steve, thanks for joining us and telling the story. We'll jump back into part 2 in the future to see how everything wrapped up and having to repaint that wall. Thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you guys on next week's Printavo's Print Us podcast.
Bye.